I drove by a pet cemetery earlier today. I didn't have any business at the cemetery, but I just had to get to a Dunkin' Donuts, and it's on the way to the Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know if they organize that. I don't know if Dunkin' has that in the contract where they're like, yeah, make them drive past a pet cemetery. Make them kind of lose an appetite. And then they see that donut on that little chalkboard that we drew, and then they're going to be like, actually, I could go for a chocolate frosted with sprinkles. Also, I guess one way they could do it is they could just put a pet cemetery right outside the drive through, and then you would have to do that. But that wasn't the case. It was just on the way. There was a pet cemetery. I don't know which one came first. Okay, it's a real chicken or the egg situation. Except the chicken's probably in the pet cemetery. But this pet cemetery, also, this is just tragic, right? What if you just had a loss of a pet and you're like, oh, you know what? Garv just posted a podcast episode. This is great. I get to take my mind off it. Hope I would talk about something ridiculous. And then I'm like, hey, you know where pets go when they die? And you're like, well, actually, I do. I was just there. I'm like, oh. So hopefully you didn't just lose a pet and this doesn't, trigger that in you because we're going to do a little pet cemetery bit right here in the beginning. Is that okay? Okay. Sounds good. If not, then it sounds like you're barking up the wrong tree. And yeah, now you have to do the barking because your dog's dead. But I was wondering, about this pet cemetery. I've never seen someone buy it. I've never seen someone in it. Sometimes in cemeteries people go and they pay their respects because they're like, oh, this was some pet I used to know. But I saw one person this week standing at the pet cemetery, and it was a guy standing by the entrance, and he had a bunch of flowers. I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah. If someone gets to the cemetery and they would need flowers, they got the guy right there. But I was like, there's not enough traffic for this guy to turn a profit. And how is he so confident that people are coming out today? I drive by this pet cemetery all the time. Why now, today, is he there? And it got me thinking, what if he killed all those pets on the same day so that he's able to understand that, oh, everyone's going to come visit on the death anniversary. It's just still an anniversary. That's not a, like you wouldn't call the birth of something, oh, the birth anniversary. We call it a birthday. But an anniversary, that's like the marking of a thing. But yeah, a death anniversary, an anniversary of a pet's death. What if he just kind of stocked them all on the same day so that he would know to drive traffic in that day and he doesn't have to like sparse it out? Except you would get kind of, right, the first time, the first reunion, the first death anniversary, people would show up and be like, wow, oh my God, what are you guys all here for? They're like, well, my pet passed. And you're like, oh, really? Recently? Well, no, this we're actually thinking about, Spot was his name. He had a spot right on his leg. But yeah, he died this day last year. And they're like, no way, our pet died this day last year. What happened? Oh, well, I don't know. We figured maybe he was playing in traffic. We found him in the street dead. What a coincidence. We also found, Clark in the street dead. Oh my God. Sorry, did you name your dog Clark? Yeah, Clark. Clark the Dachshund. Except we put 3 A's in it, so it's like Clark, because it's a long dog, so we just wanted the name to suit him. And yeah, we went with Long Clark for his name. We would just call him Clark, but technically his legal name was Long Clark. It's not Long Clark, but it's Clark with 3 A's, which is a Long Clark. Clark. But they would probably all catch on, and then more people would show up and be like, oh my God, why are you guys here? No one comes to this pet cemetery. And they're like, yeah, no, but our pets died this day last year. And then the guy with the flowers is like, oh wow, that's crazy, huh? My condolences. You guys want flowers? And then someone's like, wait, that is such a coincidence. Actually, you know what? I just paid for Ring, right? That's the doorbells that people have. I just paid for Ring Premium, and they actually let me go back retroactively and check the recordings. Maybe I have a recording of what happened. And the guy with the flowers is like, oh, no way. Yeah, let me take a look at that. And just hits the phone out of their hand. Oh, too bad. So sad. You want some flowers? Now you're mourning the loss of two things, your dog and your phone. More need for flowers, huh? But I was wondering. I was like, why the fuck is that guy there? What does he know that I don't? Because he shouldn't be there, right? If the idea is to turn a profit, to make business, why are you going to a local pet cemetery? Also, not a big pet cemetery. Maybe it fits 25 mid to large sized dogs, maybe 30 chihuahuas. I don't know. Pomeranians probably sprinkled in there somewhere. But why is he there? Anyway, that eludes me. I'm not sure. Another thing I saw on my drive a little later was three moms going for a walk. And you can tell that it's like their daily walk. Because sometimes people wake up and they're like, you know what, I should go for a walk today. It was never on the plan, it was never on the docket. But in the spur of the moment, spur of the day decision, they're like, you know what, I should make something out of the day, get a couple beads of sweat going, and go for a walk. But no, these people, you can tell they walk. The attire, that athleisure, it's got to be Lululemon, something like that, right? Skims, perhaps. It's like when people that eat healthy say, they never say, I'm having a salad. They just say, I'm having lunch. Because a salad, it's not noteworthy. It's just what they're eating that day. Whereas me, if I had a salad for lunch, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, I'm eating a salad. But then someone that has a sandwich, they're like, yeah, I'm just going to have lunch. And then you would have to ask them, oh, well, what are you having for lunch? And they'll be like, oh, a sandwich. So that's the thing. I know you can tell when someone's performative. Because if they're eating healthy, they'll say the name of the dish that they're having. Not that they're just having a meal. Because to people like this, it's just everyday shit. So I could tell that these ladies were on a walk. They were just doing what they do during the day. And I imagined if myself was part of that group. You do that, right? Anytime you see groups in public, you start to think, could I fit into that group potentially? And immediately I disqualified myself because I was like, well, yeah, my ankle's all fucked. I can't walk more than a mile without being out of commission for the next 3 weeks. So I was like, oh, you know what? A solution would be to ride alongside them with a razor. Not a bike. A bike would go too fast. So I was like imagining myself riding along on a razor next to them. And I was like, oh, they'd probably get sick of me. Because you would have to hear that, that sound that a razor makes? Because sidewalks have those little gaps in them that you don't step on. Like you make a crazy bet in your head. You're like, oh, someone I love will die if I step on a crack in the next 10 steps. You do that too, right? Make a little weird bet with yourself where the stakes are way too high for what's happening. I do that. I don't know why I do it, but it's not healthy, I don't think. Like if there's a sidewalk, I'll be like, I don't want to step on one of those little ridges in the sidewalk or something bad will happen to someone I love. Not me though. It's never me, heavens no. But yeah, I would go over those things and go and then I would think they would get sick of me. Like at first they would put up with it because they're like, oh, we want to be accommodating because your ankle, it's like a health reason to be wrong for us to discriminate, but there would be at a certain point where the humanity would be thrown out the window and they'd be like, we're just sick of this shit. And I was thinking about how would they do that? Like how would they kindly suggest me out of the group? And it would be like, I would be riding with them one day and they'd be like, hey, that's not putting too much like strain on your ankle, is it? And I would reassure them. I'm like, no, actually it's the perfect solution. Actually, it was you, right? Stacy, you came up with this. You actually proposed this idea. And she's like, no, I know. I'm kicking myself now because of it. Yeah, but no, hey, Stace, it was the best solution. Thank you so much. I'm so glad I can be out here and get fresh air with you guys. I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't able to do this. I'd probably be at home alone, going stir crazy. So this is great. Thank you guys so much. And then they'd probably double down. They'd be like, oh, you sure? I mean, hey, we don't want you to like push it. Don't strain yourself just to be out here with us. Your health is more important than, keeping us company. Okay. So really do what's best for you. But I would keep doubling down. I'm like, no, this is great. I love this. I can't imagine doing this with another group of gals. You guys are my ride or die. So get it? Ride or die? Because if I wasn't riding alongside you guys, I would probably die in my house, Because what would I do in there? Well, I would just sit on my couch, sedentary, eating pie and cake, huh? Well, why do you have to eat pie and cake? That doesn't seem related to your ankle. I don't know. Why are you poking holes in my made up misery? Okay, but I don't have to live in the made up because I got reality, which is you guys. But I would think that they would probably try to just kind of silently suggest me out of the group. They start going earlier, but they don't tell me. And then I catch them at the grocery store. Hey, guys. Oh my God. Hey, are you guys still walking? I feel like the group chat's not too active these days. Oh, yeah, no. Hey, we just started going earlier. Oh, did you? Wow. Well, hey, I got nothing going on in the morning. So did you let me know in the group chat? Yeah, no, I think one of us put it in one of those chats, I think. Oh, okay. Well, we only have the one chat, right? It's got all the emojis, which I'm still waiting for you guys to figure it out. It's like a puzzle, okay? I changed the name. It's like a turtle emoji, a flame emoji, and then it's an Android emoji. You guys don't have Android, so you probably can't see it. It's a box with a question mark. But when you figure it out, let me know. And they're like, yeah, hey, listen, this just isn't gonna work out. We're not gonna do this anymore. What's that? Yeah, we don't care. It's gotten to a point. There's only so many that we can handle, you're out of the group. We walk without you and we don't feel any guilt about it. Okay. Well, hey, thanks for being open and honest with me. I totally understand. Like, what? You're so accepting. Yeah, no, I understand. It makes sense. I was actually wondering why you guys kept me around for so long. Surprising. They're like, but you made all those comments that made us feel super guilty. I'm like, well, yeah, I wanted to emotionally sabotage you. I didn't want to, like, it's manipulation, girls. Okay, get used to it. A lot of guys do it. So, yeah, I'm cool. I'll just sit this one out. It's cool. I'll probably heal in a couple weeks and be back out there normal. It'll be cool. Oh, okay. I think that's how that would go. You know what I was thinking? These podcasts, this is a self-help podcast, obviously. I don't need to say that. It's obvious. But I don't really talk. Okay, well, here this is an attack on my brand. I don't really talk about that many problems out loud. I've listened to like other podcasts, little, snippets and tidbits of other pods. And people kind of go on for like 20 minutes about like one problem, about like their mindset on something. And I realize I don't think I could ever do that. I could as a bit, but I couldn't do that to really try to figure out a problem. Because I realize I don't spend much time thinking about problems. Because most of the time, I know what needs to be done. It's not a matter of like, oh man, I can't figure this out. What do I do here? The struggle though is, do I have the discipline to do what needs to be done? And that's the tricky part. But no, I feel like most things in life, I know what I need to do. But am I willing? I'm able, but am I willing? That's the real struggle. And so I've never understood with self-help podcasts where they're like, oh, let me talk about, this issue for 20 minutes. I'm like, I can't do that. What do you even, there's not that many things to consider. Like, it's kind of obvious. There's probably like 3 things. This is arbitrary. There's 3 things. One's obviously bad. It's like a multiple choice test. You probably know what to do, right? You got it. It's like one of those training videos that you get at work and you got to like test out of it or like take a test at the end. And there's that like harassment one where it's like a guy came in and slapped his coworker on the ass. Is that okay? I'm like, yeah, no. What are you talking about? No, obviously false. And they're like, oh, so sad. We put a double negative in there. We said, are you sure it's not okay? And so now you're all tripped up. So now you have to take another training that's 2 hours. I'm like, oh, fuck me. Oh, can't say that. Welcome to HR. So yeah, you're going to have to take a 3rd test. If you get to that 4th one, it's just means for dismissal. You don't have a place at this company. The culture's not a fit. So I realized, I don't know how to do that thing where it's like, oh man, I don't know what to do. I could do this. And then people are like really tripped up. I don't think I'm ever really tripped up. I get it. I got it. The word pontificate, there's a reason it's so long and annoying, because it's a long and annoying and unnecessary process. You don't have to think about things that long. I think sometimes in therapy, I did therapy for a year and I liked that. I don't think I need to go to it right now. There's probably some things, like someone asked me the other day, like, if you went to therapy, what would you talk about? And I laid out 3 things. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not going to tell you on here because I don't want to. We don't get personal on this podcast. You're not supposed to know anything personal about me. That's the beauty of this self-help podcast. You're not supposed to be close to me, okay? Arm's distance, okay? But no, if I went to therapy today, I know what I would talk about, okay? You know what? I'll fucking tell you. It'd be just my mindset about dating, my thoughts about my career, and my thoughts about like my life's purpose. Boom. Those are the 3 things I would talk about. And within them, there's probably things I could break into, but I know that that's what I would talk about. And I already know how I kind of feel about each of them. It's just I would do kind of a once over, a sanity check with the therapist and be like, what do you think? This is kind of my mindset on them right now. Any notes? I don't know if I'm going to do anything based on what you tell me, but I just want some input, right? Anytime I've asked friends, like I go over a situation, this is rare. I rarely ask friends for input because like I said, I kind of already know what I'm going to do. But sometimes if I'll, still want my friend's input, I'll be like, hey, I'm going to lay this question out for you. I want your input. Just know at the end of the day, I'll make the decision, but I do want your input. Because I think sometimes friends can get a little tripped up, a little paralyzed by the idea of like, oh, fuck, you're asking my opinion? So whatever I say you're going to do? Shit. Okay, well, now that there's stakes here, I might change the course of your life. So I assure my friends up top, I'm like, hey, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But I do want to see where is your head at with this. Maybe a different angle on this scenario, because I'm thinking about it this way. But because I like you, What do you think about this? And it's interesting to see what they say. And if they don't agree with what I was already going to do, then I just write them off as a friend. I never talk to them again. That's what you have to do. You understand that, right? You have to surround yourself with only like-minded individuals, and there's really no leniency with that policy. You have to have the same ideas as me that I've already come across, or it's a bad fit, right? Different culture. I'm kidding. No, it's good to have diversity of thought. In this marketplace of ideas, it's good to have different options. If everyone's selling peanut brittle, well, you're going to break your teeth eventually because you keep biting on the same shit. You need someone, right, to have nougat. You need someone to have fudge. You need someone to have caramel apples, okay? If you got peanut brittle all the time, that's bad. And then what? The only people that you can keep around yourself don't have a peanut allergy? Well, where's the fun in that? You always want to have someone with the... you always want to keep someone with an allergy around you, like a food allergy, because it gives you a nice perspective on life. Like, it's really good to keep miserable people around you, because then you get to be like, oh, well, I don't think that way because that's an insane way to think. So now I'm more grateful because that person's life fucking sucks and my life doesn't suck that much. So if you ever, have a friend and they have a food allergy, keep them around. That way when you guys go out and they're like, ooh, does this have nuts in it? And they're like, well, yeah, we do cook it in a peanut oil. Oh, okay. So I can't go with that. You realize, oh my God, this is great. That my life is so awesome that I can look at a menu and just be like, no, everything is an option. Except sushi. I don't know what it is. Have we talked about this on here? I can't eat sushi. I'm not allergic to seafood. People go down the laundry list of checklist items, right? They're like, okay, you can't eat sushi, right? Seafood allergy? Not that. Oh, okay. Is it the raw fish? Some people can't handle raw fish. No, I like raw fish. They put the rice and then they put that piece of fish draped over it. What is that called? I think those are awesome. I love those. And they're like, okay, so it's not raw fish. So it's something, the sushi is something specific about the sushi, a specific type of sushi? No, just any roll, even a California roll. California rolls, they have just a little bit of fish in them, right? So then people are like, oh, it's the seaweed maybe. Or maybe it's the rice. Is it something there? I'm like, it's got to be. I haven't done the A/B testings. I could go in, eat ingredient by ingredient and maybe figure it out. But I've just kind of gone through life recently. I remember in middle school, my dad would always take my sister and I to a sushi restaurant at the end of the week. And it was awesome. They had the boats to go around. You just pick up what you eat and then you're met by the bill and you're like, oh, worrying about money as a kid? No, your parents take care of it and you never think about it, right? Because that's privilege. But no, we would go to the place with the boats and it was awesome. But then something happened. I became intolerant in high school. And yeah, I think it started in like 10th grade. My body stopped being able to handle sushi. And it's funny, some people, they try to break through it, right? There's the detectives where they're like, well, let's try to diagnose this thing. What is it you're allergic to? And then there's some people that go on the offensive, right? What is it? Exposure therapy? Some people employ that tactic where I remember I was an intern back in 2018 and my team, it was my last day and they're like, you get to decide where we go for lunch. So tell us, what's your favorite cuisine actually? And then we'll pick the place. We know the area. It'll be good. Just tell us what you like. And I was like, okay, I like pizza and wings. And they're like, perfect. So we're going to Mikuni. It's a sushi spot. I was like, okay, well, that's, I thought you asked for my opinion. They're like, yeah, well, we told the boss and the boss is like, I don't care what he thinks. We're going to Mikuni. But they're like, don't worry. We know you don't like sushi. The boss thinks he can flip you. He thought he could send me to a camp and get some conversion therapy. But I'm like, that doesn't work, right? And they're like, yeah, well, he's from the old guard. They think that works. So they took me to Mikuni. And then he was like, here, just eat what I give you, okay? I'm going to present you with something. Put it in your mouth. And I was like, okay, that's a sushi roll. That's a sushi roll. Is that a sausage? Uh-oh. Now I'm in HR. Reporting you. But no, he gave me all the things. I ate one and I was like, okay, that was doable. He's like, right. Okay, let's ramp it up a little. And he gave me something a little more extreme. Again, I don't know what the fuck he was giving me. But by the end of that lunch, I was not in a good way. I remember going back to work that day. Again, it's your last day, so there's not much to do at that point. The last day for an intern, what were you even doing up until that point? Okay? The last day is for you to make sure nothing sensitive is on your computer that you needed before you hand it to, IT, and then they wipe the shit. And I remember standing at my desk. It was a standing desk. No, it wasn't. but I stood at it. It was a normal desk, but I had to stand because if I moved my body in any other way, even the slight, rolling that you do, even the slight sinking that you do when you sit in a chair, it would be too much for my body. I stood at my desk for 4 hours straight and just looked into the abyss. I looked outside a window, and I remember even my mentor, he was sitting to the left of me. He was like, "Hey, well, I'm going to take off a little early. Gotta go do kid pickup. Just make sure you leave your badge and your laptop in my cube. I'll take care of it tomorrow." And I didn't even look at him. I was like, "Yeah, sounds good." Because I knew if I made any sudden movement, yeah, no, it would have been terrible. So I don't know what it is. My body just stopped handling sushi rolls. But I like it as a concept. I really think it's cool. I like the names they have too, because the names are kind of like indicative of that, the experience you're going to have. Like, I remember there's one that my sister would always get from this place called Who's Your Daddy? And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Sushi places have such fun with their naming conventions. And sometimes, yeah, it is very telling of the thing. Where it's like, oh, if it's spicy, it'll be named like Satan's foreskin or something. You're like, oh my goodness, right? If it's got a little kick to it, they'll name it like, oh, parents beating or something, something like that. And it's funny. It's right. It's a little ironic and stuff. But I don't know how I got onto that. But I just know that I know myself. I'm good. Oh yeah, I was talking about a menu, right? You put a menu, got everything on it, whatever. Oh yeah, keep people with allergies near you so you have a renewed sense of appreciation for life. But I don't get the point, right? Of like thinking too long on things. Some people, they stay in therapy probably a little too long. This is not a criticism of people that are in therapy for long duration, right? But there are probably some people that it's just counterintuitive at that point, where it's like you fester in your problems too long that you just kind of don't know anything outside of them. You just kind of sit in a pool of them, and then you're like, well, now this is somehow comfortable. It'd be weird if I didn't have problems, and then, you just have those tendencies that you never really get out of because that becomes the norm. It would actually be too scary at that point to be healthy. But I know myself. I only need a little bit of help and then I got it, right? I like to touch base and then get off real quick. It's not good to loiter in your ideas. And I have had this conversation with a lot of people too, where it's like, would you get along with a clone of yourself? This is a question I hear online. Apparently, psychologists or people that deal with the mind, right? Apparently, the theory is that if you met a clone of yourself, if you met yourself, you would hate them. And I don't think that's true. I would love myself because all the weird things I do, I think I've talked about this before. Every reason someone would get frustrated with me, I know why I do. I don't text back. I know why I don't text back. I know exactly how to deal with myself. If I met myself, I would know exactly how to handle myself because I know exactly what I would need. A lot of things I do, I feel like they don't make sense, but they make sense to me. In my head, I got it. Like, what's another thing? I don't know. I'm trying to think of like something weird I do. You might have to give me a second here. Okay, I couldn't think of anything that great, but the closest I've gotten to is physical touch. You see, my top love language is quality time, but my second love language, a lot of people probably wouldn't guess, but it is physical touch. The problem is, if I don't really know you or I don't fuck with you, if you do like touch me in the arm or anything, I hate it. But if I like you and you give me like a friendly tap on the arm or, shoulder or whatever, it makes me like you more. It's nice to like hug someone I like, but if I don't know you and you're like, yeah, bring it in, I'm like, what are you doing? I fucking, ooh. So I would know, right? If my friend, a clone version of me, if we were meeting someone, I would know, hey, don't hug him, which is an insane idea because it's like, I don't need the clone to convey this idea. It would just be, I don't need to talk in basically the third person. I know what I would feel. It's just how I would feel about things. I don't know. Not talking during movies. I would know to hold all my questions. And then at the end, when we go to a diner and get shakes and fries and mozzarella sticks and talk for 2 hours, then I would unload the questions. Plus, I would know how to have a conversation with myself. Oh my God, how to ask questions. Wow. Oh my God. I'm getting like, I'm blushing thinking about the thought of dating myself. Oh my God. What is this, huh? what is it, mitosis? Can I just like split off from myself and have another version of myself? I really think I would love myself. But the problem is, I don't think a lot of people know why certain things drive them crazy. So it's like, if they met a clone version of themselves, they would be like, fuck you for that shit. That's why you see a lot of parents and kids, they maybe have issues. And it's funny because it's like they have issues, but they're alike. Like I know dynamics like this where it's like, you're like a dad and a daughter, and they're just screaming matches and just fights, and it's like they're both fucked up for the same reasons. And so it's funny because it's like fighting fire with fire. There will never be a compromise. Neither of them will take the high road, so they just get in the mud and they get dirty. But with me, I know exactly what to do. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm so. Is this narcissism? Like knowing that you would love yourself? Because I think, oh my God, I would love to hang out with myself. And I'm not saying I'm like everyone's cup of tea. I know that there's a reason. See, that's the other thing I know about myself. I know not everyone likes me, but I think if you're gonna like me, you're gonna love me. It's the same thing I've talked about with dating, where it's like, I know I'm not everyone's type, but if I'm your type, I think you're gonna love me. Like, I think if I'm your type, I'm like the top of your type, okay? But if I'm not your type, hey, I have no place in your arena, okay? I'm not a player in that game. And I get that. I'm not going to fight and be like, no, I should be. You should like me. No, you shouldn't. Some people don't. There's some people, no, actually I can't name one. I was going to say there's some people I just don't like inherently, but no, I don't. Everyone's fine. Oh yeah, what about this historically evil person? Okay, yeah, no, they suck. My bad. I didn't mean that. And you know what's so ironic about all this talking is that I did pick one point and now I've talked about it for 15 minutes? And it's the same exact thing I said I couldn't do. But did we cover any ground? Did we solve any issue? I don't know. I don't think there was an issue. Because that's the thing. I don't have any. I don't have any issues. I think I'm perfect. No, I'm not perfect. It's just the ways in which I am imperfect, I understand. I kind of get it. Some people, I think, like imperfect, and they have no concept of how they're imperfect. There's a beautiful pie chart I was exposed to about 4 years ago by a guy. And he said, there's a beautiful pie chart. It's got a majority there's a slight sliver that's things you know. Then there's a little, portion of things you don't know. And then a majority of the pie chart is things you don't know, you don't know. And I think that's the problem with a lot of people. They're not even aware that there are faults in their whole, system and being. And so they think, there's only this 10% of the pie chart that exists. And they're like, well, I have a complete understanding of that 10%, which they don't. But they're like, and that's the whole thing. But there's a whole 90% of the pie chart, which they don't even fathom the existence of. Whereas I'm like, no, I'd get that there's a nebulous amount of pie that I'm not privy to, and that's okay. I'm open to learning. That's all you got to be. Open to learning. Now, the problem is, if I don't know how to learn. I guess that's a problem, right? Totally. You send a dumbass to school that's totally open to learning, it doesn't matter. He's not going to retain anything. It doesn't matter how much he wants it. If he's truly stupid, then it's a wash. You can lead a horse to water, Anyhow, thanks so much for listening. Oh, here's some things I heard at work, which I thought were funny. Someone was talking about we needed someone else to join a call. And so one of the guys on the call was like, oh yeah, let me see if I can get a hold of him. And it should have been that's it, right? But then there was a silence because the other 8 people on the call were waiting to see if the other guy would join. So then the guy that was checking in on him, the guy that was like, let me see if I can get a hold of him, he started to fill the silence. I was like, oh, you don't need to do that. Because he started getting more and more personal. I was like, I don't think we should have this information. Because he started by saying, let me see if I can get a hold of him. Yeah, just messaging him now. Status is away, so we'll see. Maybe, I think he was, just away 2 minutes, so maybe he just stepped out. We'll see if he turns green again. And then he started getting really personal. He said, I know he was just out on medical leave. I'm like, are we supposed to know that? Yeah, he was just out on medical leave. I know, yeah, he had this knee surgery. I was like, we're getting too much information. I don't think we should know this. And then that's where he stopped. But I'm like, what if he keeps going? Yeah, he's out on medical recently. He just had the knee surgery. Yeah. He was running away from his dog. His dog actually turned a little violent. Uh-oh. They had to put the dog down, I heard. Yeah, because the dog's actually the reason for the knee surgery. Yeah, it bit him. Yeah. And he had an MCL surgery because, yeah, he tore that shit in high school. I know he was so popular in high school. Homecoming king. Didn't earn it because, you had to play in the game to actually get that, and he was sidelined due to the injury. So yeah, his life is just taking a spiral. That's why I ended up at this company, I guess, huh? But no, yeah, let's see. Oh, he's green. Let me see if I can get a hold of him. Maybe I'll just cold call him, get him in here, huh? And the other thing I heard, it was funny. This guy said, and he said it sincerely, which blew me away. He said, "Break it down Barney style for me." And I know what he means. He's basically like explaining this to me like I'm 5 years old. But what got me is he said, "Break it down Barney style for me," and no one reacted. There were 13 people on that call. But he said, to break it down Barney style, didn't get a single chuckle. I don't know. Maybe people were laughing so hard that the noise gate kind of canceled out the thunderous applause he earned. But I felt bad. But I was muted, so I didn't want to like unmute and be like, haha. That would be almost worse, no? Someone tells a joke and then you unmute and go, huh, good one. Nice. Anywho, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. I didn't give you a song, Rex. Sorry. There's a song called Don't Stop Moving. It's from 2001, but it's from S Club 7. It's a great song. The reason I came across it because there was a Rocket Raccoon edit on TikTok. 27 years old, by the way. So, and yeah, they had this song to it. And then Born Again by Lisa, Doja Cat, and Ray. Two great songs. Highly recommend them. And I highly recommend this podcast. Keep listening on Spotify. Keep leaving comments and likes if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And I will talk to you next week. Okay.